In Isaiah chapter 6, we read the story of the day that Isaiah saw the Lord high and exalted, and the train of the Lord's robe filled the temple with glory. And there were cherubim and seraphim flying around the throne, singing praises to God. And it was an awesome sight. And Isaiah must have felt pretty much like the psalmist felt when he said, "When I consider you and the works of your hands, then what are human beings that you're even mindful of us?" We know that Isaiah fell on his face and said, "Woe is me, I'm a man of unclean lips." But then God demonstrated His grace to Isaiah, telling him that he was cleansed before God. God then began to look around and say, "But who will I send to join me in my mission in the world?" And in that moment, out of gratitude to God, in amazement that God not only had cleansed him, but wanted him to participate in the things of God, Isaiah lifted his hand and said, "Here am I, send me." He was volunteering to join God in His unfolding mission in the world. You know, many years ago, my wife and I moved to the town of Inverness, Florida. It was a small town nestled on the shores of a big lake, and the home that we lived in sat on 2.5 acres. On that acreage, there were 2 little spindly trees in our house, and everything else was lawn. And in the Florida summers, in the heat and humidity of the summers, our grass grew so much that I found myself having to cut that grass a couple of times every single week. I had a Kubota riding tractor to do that with, and it would take me 4.5 hours twice a week to cut the grass. One day as I was preparing that tractor for the grass cutting, I looked up and my 3-year-old son Joshua was standing there, and with a big smile on his face, he said, "Daddy, I want to help." Now, you know, my first thought was, oh my goodness, I don't really need any help to do this lawn. I have been doing it by myself for years. I'm big enough and strong enough to do this, and Joshua's 3. What could he possibly add to this equation? And yet, with great joy in my heart, I looked into his little eyes as he was saying, "Daddy, I want to help." And I said, "Climb up here in my lap, big boy, and put your hands on this steering wheel. We're going to cut this grass together." And then I wrapped my arms around him, and we began to do the job. Now, this normal 4 to 4.5 hour grass cutting job, now that I had my 3-year-old son's help, actually took me 6 or 6.5 hours to complete. Yet I was thrilled that Joshua had chosen to help me. You see, I didn't need his help. I wanted his love. I wanted his relationship. I was thrilled that he wanted to join me in something that was important to me, to be close to me and to be in relationship with me. And we cut the grass together going forward for quite some time after that. It was a wonderful experience. I think about that when I think about God's call for men and women to join Jesus in His mission. You know, the reality is God does not need us. God's mission will be accomplished regardless of what we do. Revelation 7:9 says that before the throne are people from every tribe and every tongue and every language and every ethnic group on earth, praising God and singing glory to the Lamb. And that's a picture of the future that will occur. The mission of Jesus will be accomplished, whether we respond to the call or not. God does not need us. But the good news of the gospel is that God wants us. That in the same way, He looked at a broken Isaiah before him and said, "Who will join me?" And with gladness accepted Isaiah's decision to say, "Here am I, send me." God receives us with joy when we choose to join Jesus in His mission. And just as I wrapped Joshua in my arms on that tractor, God longs to wrap us in His arms of love when we join Jesus in His mission and say, "Let's do this thing together," not because of need, but because of relationship. You know, I think it's the truth to say that none of us fully becomes everything God intends us to be until we step forward and join Jesus in His mission. I hope you'll look for tangible ways today and every day to say, as Isaiah said, "Here am I, send me." And know that we're so grateful here at the Mission Society for the multitude of ways that those of you that partner with us lift our cross-cultural witnesses in your prayers, with your letters of encouragement, and with your financial resources to make it possible for them to continue saying to God, "Here am I, send me." We're grateful as we partner together with Jesus to make a difference in this world. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful spring. Know that we love you, and God bless you from the Mission Society.